This world ring had always been controlled by the G-grade automaton, hence it didn't have any life imprints, it was an ownerless item. Immediately, the black-clothed Luo Feng used his world energy to scan it. Haha. The black-clothed Luo Feng was all smiles. There's indeed 1 million automaton puppets, they're all F9 grade puppets, and they're all in perfect condition. Before, he had captured about 530,000 automaton puppets, however those were all damaged by the golden horned beast's attacks, and the ones within the world ring were all in perfect condition. Luo Feng. A 1.5m tall young-looking Babata ran over. Babata. Luo Feng looked over. Babata was a living AI, hence he could easily control a mechanical body. Back then, the Yun Mo planet master Hu Yen Bo gave Babata a body using this method. However, using a metal body, this was a very normal method, it didn't help Babata much. The difficulty of a living AI's training and evolution was extremely high, unless one could obtain an evolution heart and fuse it into a metal body, then allowing the living AI to enter, then, the living AI would completely fuse with the metal body. Just like the soul with the body. The living AI would also have the most precious body, the evolution body. That way. After a 100% fusion with the body, the clarity of the universe laws would rise greatly, at least reaching the level of a normal human warrior. And those without an evolution body, like Babata, may be able to barely train and comprehend, however even after 1 trillion years, they wouldn't be able to become undying. And with the evolution heart, only then would one have the right to become a true automaton warrior. 2. As the training progressed, the automaton warrior's body would constantly strengthen, and the flexibility, toughness, etc. would be perfect, almost like a real body. Hence the evolution heart was very important. Unfortunately, the evolution heart, only the automaton race had it. This was the most important and core treasure of the mechanical race. Thus, the mechanical race had a very strict control over the evolution heart and forbade any member of the mechanical race from selling the evolution heart. This had long been integrated into the core of every member of the mechanical race. The mechanical race could produce a large number of evolution hearts and nurture many members of the mechanical race, but they definitely would not sell any evolution heart no matter how high the price was. As a result, it was extremely difficult for humans, demons, and many other alien races to purchase an evolution heart, because the difficulty of obtaining one was too high, and the evolution heart was something only the automaton race had. So, every evolution heart had a price of over 10 billion mixed elements. This was pretty much the entire wealth of an emperor undying. This meant that, unless the artificial intelligence that accompanied them was a life and death brother, or a super expert with a huge amount of wealth, no one would be willing to buy an evolution heart. For the time being, Babata did not dare to think about the heart of evolution. He had never had the heart of evolution. He would be satisfied if he could have a metal body. Luo Feng, don't force your way through those undamaged F9 level automatons. Babata shouted. The black-clothed Luo Feng lowered his head to look at Babata. Those mechanical puppets that are in good condition all have defensive measures. Once they are forcefully attacked, it will trigger the self-destruction sequence. Babata continued. Right now, that automaton expert is incomparably far away from us and is unable to control these mechanical golems. However, if we were to attack, it wouldn't be worth it to self-destruct. Black-clothed Luo Feng said. Of course there's a way to control them. It's just that my infiltration ability isn't enough. Babata smiled, hence there's no need to forcefully attack them. Probe their insides and sell them. Like the virtual universe company, they have the ability to easily attack them. All we need to do is pay them a small fee. Luo Feng nodded. This infiltration was better left to the professionals. What, inspection complete? Black-clothed Luo Feng looked at Babata. Babata nodded. Inspection complete. The entire damaged pyramid ship has many items within, a total of 4 types. First is the damaged pyramid ship itself. This is an F9 grade ship, coupled with an extremely high-level energy defense. In terms of energy defense, it's even higher level than the Yun Mo planet ship. It's a pity that it was already damaged in the earlier attack. The ship immediately split apart, causing its value to be mainly due to the large amounts of F9 grade metal. Its estimated value is only about 5 million mixed elements. Second is the G-grade metal puppet. This G-grade metal puppet, even though it's not a large one, it's still a G-grade metal piece. It's much more useful than your ghost blade and shield. Its estimated value is about 20 million mixed elements. Third is the 530,000 automaton puppets with damaged energy cores and 1 million undamaged automaton puppets. The total value is about 800 million mixed elements. Fourth, and also the most valuable, are the expensive instruments in the core cabin. These instruments are all made of G and F grade metals. The energy processes are extremely complicated. Even I don't dare to carefully inspect them. However, just the metal used for those instruments alone is worth over 500 million. The technology and techniques within are even more complicated. The price is estimated to be very high. As for exactly how high, I can't be sure. Just these 4. The total value is definitely very high. It's at least much more than all the other spoils of war LuoFeng's over 1,000 years. Your spoils of war from over 1,000 years add up. I estimate it's only about 100 million mixed elements. It's far from this time. Luo Feng nodded and smiled. He didn't open for business for 3 years, but once he did, he would eat for 3 years. It was still very profitable to deal with these warriors with powerful backgrounds. He had only captured one of the 9 ships and his rewards were so huge. That automaton warrior's wealth indeed shocked Luo Feng. How much? Luo Feng pondered. I'll give you a suggestion. First ask the virtual universe company for a price. Babata said. Luo Feng nodded. Luo Feng first used the scanning device to scan the various items. The data was all recorded and then he simulated it in the virtual universe. Virtual Universe Primal Region, Luo Feng's Villa. Respectable Your Majesty Luo Feng, it's an honor to meet you. To be able to receive your invitation, it really makes me, Nosi Wu, extremely happy. Dressed in a luxurious green long robe, a chubby head and a pair of dead fish eyes, Undying bowed humbly, expressing his respect to Luo Feng. Luo Feng was the direct disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader. His position was extremely high. Thank you. Luo Feng smiled. Look. Luo Feng pointed at the empty space beside. There was a damaged pyramid ship parked there. This was all simulated. This is. Nosi Wu was curious. This is my spoils of war. I want to ask, as the head of the purchasing department, what price can you offer? Luo Feng asked. The virtual universe company naturally had a purchasing department. Normally they would let the AIs handle the purchases. The higher-end ones would be handled by the internal members. Like Nosi Wu, he was one of the head managers of the purchasing department. He usually dealt with Emperor-level undyings. The ship is already damaged. I estimate it to be a few million mixed elements. Nosi Wu said casually. He often dealt with Emperor-level undyings. A few million mixed elements transaction didn't bother him at all. The real spoils of war are within the ship. Luo Feng smiled. Follow me. Ah. Nosi Wu was shocked. He was curious about this direct disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader. Following Luo Feng, he entered the damaged pyramid ship. This is an automaton ship. It should belong to an automaton of some status. Naswa looked at some of the decorations and styles in the spaceship and smiled as he judged. When he first saw the G-grade metal puppet, he nodded and praised, G-grade metal puppet. The metal itself is worth 20 million mixed element units. This is the 1.53 million automaton I've acquired, of which 530,000 are damaged and 1 million are intact. This is the damaged sample and this is the intact sample. This is the most valuable equipment I've acquired. It can be used to set up extremely powerful equipment. It can even trap an Emperor-level absolute warrior. After looking at it, Nosi Wu was shocked. Even an Emperor-level undying had a net worth of over 1 billion mixed elements. It was rare for a transaction to reach 1 billion mixed elements. These automatons, the damage is very light. Only the energy cores have been shaken and cracked. They can't operate. The important parts are fine. 1.53 million automatons. Even in the automaton race they are considered the best of the F9 grade. It would probably cost at least a few hundred mixed elements. If it were us humans, the manufacturing cost would be higher than the automaton race. On average, each one would require 1,000 mixed elements. Hence, I can give you a price of 1.5 billion mixed elements. Of course. The most expensive is this batch of equipment. The materials used are expensive. Most importantly, many of the techniques used are already considered the pinnacle of the automaton race's technology. It would probably require a Universe Knight to spend a lot of effort to create it. To invite a Universe Knight level automaton master. The cost is extremely high. It's a pity it's only a part of it. This batch of equipment. I can give you a price of 3 billion mixed elements. Nosi Wu finally gave such a price to Luo Feng. Including those miscellaneous items, I can raise the price slightly. Rounding it up, I'll give you 4.6 billion mixed elements. Nosi Wu smiled. I wouldn't be so generous to normal Emperor-level undyings. 4.6 billion mixed elements? Luo Feng was elated within. Thanks, I'll think about it. Luo Feng said. Haha, no rush. If you want to sell, look for me anytime. Nosi Wu smiled. Your Majesty Luo Feng's gains this time are huge. Especially that equipment. It's a Universe Knight automaton master's hard work. If you can gather a complete set, the price will be much higher. Nosi Wu then left. Haha. The virtual universe company is willing to offer 4.6 billion mixed elements. Luo Feng smiled. My gains this time are huge. It's actually made by a Universe Knight level automaton master. That automaton warrior has quite a background. Your luck is not bad. Babata laughed. Messing with a huge enemy. However, the benefits of that enemy are huge too. Fortune and misfortune come hand in hand. This is a blessing, not a misfortune. Luo Feng smiled. Right now I have to think through what channels to sell it and how to get a high price. How could he sell his spoils of war for as high a price as he could? I still have to rely on the internet. Within the study, Luo Feng sat at his desk looking at the screen before him. Babata was using the internet to search for information on how to sell his spoils of war. As the information appeared, Luo Feng carefully read through it. Ah, Great Alliance? Luo Feng looked at the screen and frowned. According to the information, humanity's most expensive and rarest items are usually traded in the Great Alliance? Those expensive treasures, only the Great Alliance has a large number of absolute warriors that can give them a high price. That makes sense, however I haven't been recruited by the Great Alliance yet. After thinking for a while, Luo Feng contacted his teacher Tru Yen. Do. A golden armored ape man silhouette suddenly appeared on the screen. It was Tru Yen. His gaze was like lightning as he looked at Luo Feng, laughing loudly. My precious disciple, Why have you thought of contacting your teacher? Teacher. Luo Feng said respectfully, there's something I need to trouble you with. Speak. Zhu Yan smiled. It's like this. Luo Feng swiftly said, I've acquired some valuable spoils of war from the foreign battlefields. However, I'm not willing to sell them directly to the virtual universe company's purchasing department. I want to ask for your help to sell my spoils of war in the Great Alliance. Oh. Zhu Yan raised his eyebrows. You want to send it to the Hong Alliance and sell it there? Luo Feng nodded. The Great Alliance is not simple. Zhu Yan reminded, the Great Alliance is an alliance formed mainly by the human race and large amounts of other races. Only those with at least an emperor-level undying have the right to become an official member of the Great Alliance. Even the servant and servant slots are fought over by the other races to send sector lords and undyings in. There are countless super experts gathered here, and it's common for them to trade treasures. Quite a few experts know of the name, True Yen Monarch, of your teacher. It's not impossible for me to help you sell your spoils of war. I only have one condition, it has to be a treasure. Otherwise I won't be able to afford to lose face. True Yen said. What counts as a treasure? Luo Feng asked. At least 1 billion mixed elements and above. True Yen said, if it doesn't reach 1 billion mixed element units, don't embarrass me. Teacher, this is the detailed information of the loot I want to sell. I'll send it to you. Luo Feng immediately sent a mail over, these spoils of war. The Virtual Universe Company's purchasing department has set the price at 4.6 billion mixed elements. 4.6 billion? True Yen was shocked, staring wide-eyed at this disciple of his. The Virtual Universe Company's acquisition department's price is definitely extremely low, they can even offer 4.6 billion? My disciple, who exactly did you rob? You've earned the wealth of a normal titled emperor undying in an instant. Luo Feng smiled. True Yen too began to look through the detailed information Luo Feng sent over. TSK, a machine race grandmaster at the universe venerable level made a precise special instrument? This thing is worth a lot. True Yen nodded repeatedly. My disciple, leave this matter to me. I will help you sell it for the highest price possible. Haha, I thought it was wise of you to accept a disciple. At the very least, your ability to earn treasures is greater than your third senior brother's. Luo Feng smiled mischievously. This matter will take half a day if it's quick, 3 to 5 days if it's slow. Just wait for my news. Pa. True Yen didn't say much, immediately closing the communication and going to help Luo Feng settle this matter. Actually selling such expensive treasures gave him a sense of accomplishment. True Yen had been in Primal Chaos City for countless years and indeed rarely sold treasures. This time he happily went to the Great Alliance and used his connections to think of ways to sell them for a high price. Right now he had two teachers, one was True Yen and the other was the Primal Chaos City leader. Luo Feng had interacted with True Yen for a long time. Along with True Yan's straightforward temperament, he didn't care about the small details. Hence, Luo Feng was very relaxed in front of True Yen. And against the Primal Chaos City leader, Luo Feng felt a formless pressure. He was extremely respectful and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Hence, for some matters, Luo Feng would rather ask his teacher True Yen than trouble the Primal Chaos City leader. Unless it was a big matter, he wouldn't disturb the Primal Chaos City leader. 3 to 5 days if it's slow? Luo Feng sat at his desk, gently tapping on the screen. Then I'll study the scanning device first. Hua. On the page appeared the detailed data of the scanning device. Fred 01. 102983 model. Scanning radius of 1 billion kilometers, requires 5 million points, the lowest discount is 50%, the highest discount is 10%, you can receive 40%. Detailed data can be viewed here. Fred 02. 102983 model. Scanning radius of 300 million kilometers, requires 4 million points, the lowest discount is 50%, the highest discount is 10%, you can receive 40%. Detailed data can be viewed here. DU01. 000001 model. Scanning radius of 1 billion kilometers, requires 50 billion points, the lowest discount is 50%, the highest discount is 10%, the highest discount is 40%. Detailed data can be viewed here. SDU02. 000001 model. Scanning radius of 300 million kilometers, requires 40 billion points, the lowest discount is 50%, the highest discount is 10%, the highest discount is 40%. Detailed data can be viewed here. 111. 192039 model. Scanning radius of 100 kilometers requires 1 million points, the lowest discount is 50%, the highest discount is 10%, the highest discount is 40%. Detailed data can be viewed here. 112. 192039 model. Scanning radius of 20 kilometers requires 800,000 points, the lowest discount is 50%, the highest discount is 10%, the highest discount is 40%. Detailed data can be viewed here. There were two main types of scanning devices. One was the super large range, usually with a radius of 100 million kilometers, 300 million kilometers and 1 billion kilometers. The higher-end ones, usually with a radius of 300 million kilometers and 1 billion kilometers. The other was the super small range, usually with a radius of 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers and 100 kilometers. The higher-end ones were even more common at 20 kilometers and 100 kilometers. The large scanning device was used to scan ships from far away, making it easier to set up. The small scanning device was usually used for exploring universe secret regions, where it was easier to scan within a small range. As the range was small, it allowed for higher level scanning. Luo Feng constantly flipped through the various information. There were many high-end scanning devices that even Primal Region members couldn't see. Even though Luo Feng could see them, he couldn't afford them. Looking at the astronomical prices of tens of billions and hundreds of billions of points, Luo Feng could only blink. Astronomical prices. Even if I get a 40% discount, I still can't afford it. Luo Feng pondered, what level of scanning device should I buy this time? 10 million points? Over 100 million? Billions? Back then in Primal Chaos City, Luo Feng didn't have any experience in buying a scanning device. He only looked at the information regarding the outer region battlefields before buying one. However, after spending over 1,000 years in the outer region battlefields, and having suffered losses, Luo Feng was very clear on what he needed. I'm too stupid. There's no need to chase after a 1 billion kilometers radius, a large scanning range of 300 million kilometers is enough. At the same time, I have to buy a specialized small-scale scanning device. The large-scale scanning device's small-scale scanning capabilities are very average. One big and one small scanning device. The large scanning device, there are two choices, one is 2 billion points. The next level is 6 billion points. The small scanning device I'll have to spend more money too. Luo Feng pondered, I'll just have to see what price teacher can get for my spoils of war. Luo Feng had many things he wanted to buy now. The most important was the scanning device, followed by the cloud contact vine and other important items. However, they all required money. Kutua. Yang. Dressed in black armor with a pair of black wings on his back, Luo Feng was currently drinking with a green-armored green-haired man, clinking glasses and drinking. Yang, how's your harvest? Kutua asked. Just average. You should know that the official level Undying have an undying body. Killing an official is extremely hard. Luo Feng raised his glass. Over 1,000 years I've only killed about 100 official levels and most of them were beginner levels. Very few of them were upper levels and that's because I'm lucky. Accumulating points is simply too slow. With an undying body, it's very hard to kill. That green-haired man put down his glass angrily, shaking his head. I too have the strength of an emperor. Those official levels are obviously weaker than me, but I can't do anything to them. You've killed about 100 official levels in 1,000 years, that's not bad. Your efficiency is even higher than mine. Right, which battlefield are you at? Yanji Continent. Luo Feng said. Yanji Continent. Kutua stared, you already have the strength of an emperor and you're still at Yanji Continent? You can totally go to Star Tower, I'm at Star Tower. The 7th battlefield's most dangerous place? Luo Feng laughed. There were a few of the most dangerous places in the 7th battlefield. Amongst these terrifying places, the closest to Army Camp number 026 was Star Tower. Even though it's dangerous, it's also filled with opportunities. Kutua advised, when are we going together? Let's work together. 3 voices resounded. In the distance, 3 silhouettes walked over, the formless pressure they emitted was shocking. Even though this restaurant was huge, the other normal Undyings and official level Undyings all consciously distanced themselves from this region, because the ones chatting here were all the emperors. Kutua waved his hand and said to Luo Feng, those 3 are my comrades from Star Tower. I've roamed with them before, let me introduce them to you. The morning was cold, mist shrouded the entire lake. On an island in the lake, Luo Feng was lying in a warm pool relaxing. At this time Tru Yen contacted him. Hurry to my Thunder Island palace. Yes, teacher. Virtual Universe Thunder Island? Gathered here were countless Undyings from the Virtual Universe Company. Within one of the halls of Tru Yan's palace. Your Majesty, the Lord and the others are here. The servant led Luo Feng outside the hall. Disciple, hurry in. Tru Yan's voice resounded from within the hall. Luo Feng immediately stepped in. With a glance, there were 3 warriors seated at a table. One was Tru Yan, the second was a winged, golden-eyed foreign race warrior and the third was a tall silhouette that was completely black like ink, almost like it was made from black mud. Teacher. Luo Feng shouted respectfully after entering. Haha. Tru Yan laughed, let me introduce you. These 2 are experts from the outsiders. This is the Lust Devil King and this is the Blackheart King. Tru Yen pointed at the golden-eyed warrior and the black mud warrior and said. The 2 of them were all smiles, of which the golden-eyed Desire Demon Emperor laughed. This is your disciple Tru Yen, and also the direct disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader. Tru Yen, you don't have to introduce your disciple, he's very famous. The expert that seemed to be formed from black mud also nodded slightly. Disciple, sit. Tru Yen pointed at a chair. Yes. Luo Feng sat. I've already discussed everything for you. Tru Yen explained. The G-grade automaton and the 1.53 million automatons will all be given to Desire Demon Emperor. As for the equipment, it will be given to Blackheart Emperor. The price has also been settled. Desire Demon Emperor is willing to pay 1.8 billion mixed elements. Blackheart Emperor is willing to pay 4.3 billion mixed elements. Luo Feng nodded within as he heard. Like the automatons, these warriors all had their own channels to purchase them. The Virtual Universe Company was willing to buy them for 1.5 billion, but they usually sold them for about 2 billion. Therefore, the bid of 1.8 billion was considered the highest bid because mechanical puppets were commonly seen. A portion of the 9 Extremes Divine Nations apparatus was a rare item, extremely rare. To those who did not like to manufacture mechanical weapons, it was not very valuable. However, to those who like mechanical items, it was a true treasure. They could completely study this apparatus in detail, and study the manufacturing methods of the machine race's venerable universe. Luo Feng. The Black Clay Warrior Blackheart Emperor said, "What other information do you know about this machine? This is one of the instruments used to set up the 9 ultimate divine kingdom." Luo Feng immediately explained, "The moment the 9 extreme god country is set up, even an Emperor Pinnacle Warrior would be trapped. And with that special automaton puppet, it can unleash all sorts of attacks. It's truly powerful." Yes. The Blackheart King's eyes lit up, and he nodded with a smile. Entanglement? Trap mode? Let's trade immediately. All right. Luo Feng nodded. Luo Feng, Blackheart Emperor and Desire Demon Emperor discussed for a while, swiftly confirming the transaction method. With the Virtual Universe Company as the intermediary, the Virtual Universe Company would be responsible for the delivery and confirmation of the goods. This intermediary business, the highest fee was 1,000 mixed dollars, the lowest was 1 mixed dollar. LuoFeng's business deal. As Blackheart Emperor and Desire Demon Emperor were both outside the human domain, hence both deals were 100 mixed dollars. To Luo Feng, who was about to earn 6.1 billion mixed dollars, this was indeed a small amount not worth mentioning. After the deal was done, that Blackheart Emperor and Desire Demon Emperor had the intention of befriending the direct disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader. After all, both of their races were vassal races of humanity. For these vassal warriors, even if they were human soldiers, they would still use the mixed element currency. Humans had too much influence on their races, hence the Primal Chaos City leader's level of existence required the vassal races to look up to him and respect him. To be able to befriend Luo Feng, they were very happy. The banquet was set up, they ate and chatted. In the middle of the banquet, a team from the Virtual Universe Company went to Luo Feng's place to collect the goods. Goods confirmed. Blackheart Emperor and Desire Demon Emperor naturally paid Luo Feng's account too. After the banquet, Desire Demon Emperor, who was discussing a trip to a universe secret region, suddenly stood up. "What's up?" Blackheart Emperor and True Yen Emperor looked shocked at him. Luo Feng was curious too. "There's a Blood River Crystal auction in the Great Alliance. The auction is about to begin." Desire Demon Emperor said solemnly, his eyes filled with suppressed excitement. Blood River Crystal auction? Blackheart Emperor and True Yen Emperor were shocked too. Let's see if I can get my hands on the crystals this time. Desire Demon Emperor's eyes were filled with desire, after which he smiled. "True Yen, you've already reached the limits of an emperor, comparable to a normal universe knight. Blood River Crystals, don't fight with me for them. Blood River Crystals are effective even to a universe knight, who says I shouldn't fight for them?" True Yen mocked. "I'll fight for them. Anyway, there's plenty to fight for." Desire Demon Emperor shook his head. Let's go participate in the auction." "You two go first," True Yen said. "Luo Feng will leave first." Desire Demon Emperor and Blackheart Emperor said to Luo Feng and hurriedly left, vanishing into thin air within the palace. Only True Yen and Luo Feng were left in the palace. "Teacher, what's with the Blood River Crystal auction? I remember Blood River Crystals are forbidden items, forbidden from being sold, etc." Luo Feng asked. Right, you've been to Blood River Continent before." True Yen smiled and nodded. "You have to remember one thing, any so-called forbidden items are all relative. No matter how precious a treasure is, it might be a forbidden item to sector lords, but to undying beings, it can be traded. If it's forbidden to an undying, however to a universe knight, even if it isn't, it depends on who it is." Luo Feng could only nod. Right. That was indeed the case. The Great Alliance is a human alliance with many races, of course there would be many precious items. True Yen said. "Then the Blood River Crystals?" Luo Feng couldn't help but ask. Absorbing the crystals was extremely difficult. A normal human absorbing 10 crystals was already an unbelievable thing, then what was the point of auctioning them? Why would even the universe knights fight for the crystals? Luo Feng asked. "To absorb the crystals is very difficult." "Of course it's difficult. At sector lord level, one's body and genes are developed to the extreme. For a human warrior to be able to absorb 10 crystals at once is already unbelievable." True Yen laughed loudly. "However, the Blood River Crystals, those are crystals formed from the essence of the fallen beast god. That's the crystallization of the beast god's blood. The beast god, that's a being comparable to the universe lord. And as a naturally born powerful life form of the universe, the embodiment of the space and gold laws, the wonders of the Blood River Crystal. How could there only be one way to absorb it?" Luo Feng was stunned as he listened. "So it was like that, the fall of the beast god, the blood of the beast god? The Blood River Crystal has many uses, even to the knights of the universe they are of great benefit." True Yen shook his head. "However, the upper echelons of humanity have very tight restrictions on the crystals and other important treasures. They usually give priority to the absolute warriors. Hence, occasionally there would be a small amount of Blood River Crystals leaked out. These Blood River Crystals, to any flesh and blood life form, they are treasures. Every 100 crystals are used as a unit, because 100 crystals can produce 1 drop of beast god blood." True Yen said. "However, I've reached the pinnacle of emperor level, and what I lack now is origin law comprehension. External treasures are useless, hence I won't fight for it. Tru Yin smiled, when I become a knight I'll probably have to fight for it too. Ha! The Blood River Crystal Auction has always attracted many warriors, I'll go join in the fun. You can go back. Luo Feng replied, yes teacher. Shwa. Tru Yin vanished from the hall. Blood River Crystal? 100 Blood River Crystals can refine a drop of beast god blood? Luo Feng muttered, to any flesh and blood life form, it's a treasure, even the knights fight for it? How sinister. Back then, the Virtual Universe Company quoted a price of 600 points for each crystal to us universe-level punks. Luo Feng couldn't help but reveal a weird smile, shaking his head. Right, if it's just the universe-level punks, there's no need to pay such a high price. And to the Virtual Universe Company, the chance for the universe-level punks to acquire the crystals was given by them, hence the price was reasonable. However, how would those punks know that the Blood River Crystal is an incomparably important treasure to the emperors and knights? So, Luo Feng too vanished from thin air. 100 Blood River Crystals only required one drop of beast god blood, and normal universe-level geniuses would find it hard to even acquire a few crystals in Blood River World. Someone like Luo Feng who looked like a universe-level, yet had a domain lord-level body, and one that was proficient in stealth and assassination, a Masha clansman body, it was too rare. And back then Luo Feng relied on the Masha clansmen to steal close to 10,000 crystals. Back then when he was buying them for 600 points, Luo Feng suppressed his desire to exchange for large amounts of points. He firmly believed that the crystals were treasures, he couldn't just sell them like that. Haha, back then I never thought that the use of the Blood River Crystal would be this great. Luo Feng walked out of the pool. Water droplets rolled off his body, and the cold air outside assaulted him, however it made him feel refreshed. Luo Feng casually lay on a chair beside. The more he thought about it, the happier he got. Smart, he really was smart to keep all the crystals. Now he had really earned big. Right? Back then when my Earth body was at universe level, I only absorbed 3 crystals. Right now I'm already Sector Lord Pinnacle and I've also trained the Nameless Manual, my genes have evolved. Luo Feng thought, it's time to try absorbing the crystals again. All these years he had never tried it. It was because absorbing 3 crystals back then was too difficult. Even the Black Warrior in the history of Blood River Continent was a legend. He probably couldn't even absorb 10 crystals. If he couldn't absorb 10 crystals, the increase in his strength would be extremely limited. Hence he didn't try it. Just like that, a few thousand years had passed. It's time to try. Luo Feng couldn't help but get up and walk into his study to prepare to absorb the crystals. Within the study Luo Feng sat cross-legged. Every time I absorb one, the difficulty increases by 10 times. However, my body's genes are much stronger than back then, I wonder how many I can absorb. Luo Feng didn't have the confidence to absorb 10 crystals, because in Blood River Continent, the Black Warrior had long become a legend. From the absorption back then, his genes could only be considered above average. Even with the Nameless Manual he was only at the first level. To rely on this to become a Black Warrior was very difficult. Begin. Luo Feng flipped his hand and a Blood River Crystal appeared. The Blood River Crystal was a triangular-shaped long crystal. It was completely blood red and slightly translucent. It emitted a formless ripple, almost like a heart beating, the ripple constantly transmitted. Back then when I first saw the crystal I felt like it had life. Only now do I know that it's actually the blood crystal of a fallen beast god. Luo Feng gently sliced his palm, causing a cut to appear. Fresh blood seeped out and the crystal immediately touched his blood. The killing aura invasion and body modification. Luo Feng was already familiar with this. To someone who had absorbed the 100th crystal before, this little bit of pain was nothing. After a while. After finishing the 4th, Luo Feng was very calm. He had expected that he would have to absorb another 5 or 6. I wonder how many I can absorb. Luo Feng flipped his hand and took out the 5th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th. The 7th was a success. Luo Feng's face was covered in sweat from the pain. However, his eyes gleamed, filled with excitement. I actually succeeded in absorbing the 7th. Back then on Blood River World, that blood god Baki was an absolute genius that only appeared once in countless years. Even he only absorbed 8 crystals. My body's genes aren't that outstanding. Could it be that after training the first level of the Nameless Manual, I've undergone a complete transformation? Continue with the 8th. Luo Feng flipped his hand and took out another crystal. Absorb. Another success. I've caught up to Baki. Luo Feng blinked. Let's try the 9th. Luo Feng couldn't help but feel a sense of desire. Who knows, he might really become a Black Warrior. As he absorbed the 9th crystal, the killing aura invasion was easily blocked. As the Blood River energy entered his body, Luo Feng's muscles and skin began to tear. Kacha. His bones broke. Following which the Blood River energy returned to the 9th crystal. The 9th absorption failed. To be able to absorb 8 has already exceeded my expectations. My genes are only those of an Earth human, the only special thing is that I've trained in the first level of the Nameless Manual. This actually makes me comparable to the absolute genius of Blood River World, Blood God Baki. Luo Feng was shocked within. The Nameless Manual was indeed unbelievable. In fact, when one's gene reached its limit, it would be very difficult to improve it further. The first level of the Nameless Secret Manual could increase one's overall combat strength by 3 times. How shocking was the evolution of the gene to have such a powerful effect. Absorbing 8 of them has very little effect on one's battle strength. Luo Feng shook his head. Fusing 3, 10, and 100 of them all had their limits. When he fused with 3 of them, his compatibility with the universe origin source doubled, reaching twice as high as before. After fusing with 10 of them, the compatibility with the origin source of the universe was 3 times that of the original state. And when he activated the blood river power, even the genes of his body would undergo a short period of transformation, and his strength would soar. And now he had only fused 8 of them. Compared to when he had fused 3, his overall strength had only increased by 30 to 40%. Luo Feng was drenched in sweat as he walked out of the study. He walked barefooted on the ground and with a splash, he jumped into the pool and lay comfortably on the slippery rock at the side of the pool. To be able to absorb 8 crystals, Luo Feng was still rather satisfied. Even though the increase in strength was limited, at least it meant that the Nameless Manual was indeed powerful. If I can get the second level of the Nameless Manual, allowing my body to undergo another huge change, I might be able to absorb 10 crystals. Luo Feng shook his head helplessly. Such a heavenly technique, to be able to get the first level was already a huge fortune. How hard would it be to get the second level? Since my earth body can't absorb it, I'll let the golden horned beast try and continue absorbing the crystals. Luo Feng laid on the rock, allowing the warm water to ripple. At the same time, he let the golden horned beast begin absorbing the crystals within his internal world. Luo Feng didn't have much expectations for the golden horned beast to absorb the crystals. This was because his right claw had already reached a saturated state after absorbing 100 crystals. One must know that Luo Feng's willpower had long been able to resist the invasion of the 101 crystals. However, his right claw couldn't absorb any more blood river energy. And the moment it was activated, the beast god had roared. It was already a very perfect image. The right claw had reached its limit. Then to absorb, he could only let the other parts of his body do it. However, no matter how strong his willpower was, even if he could absorb another 100 crystals, he would at most let the other parts have the same strength as his right claw. Even so, the golden horned beast's overall strength would only double from before. And this was under the situation of absorbing another 100 crystals. One must know that absorbing each crystal was much harder than before. Luo Feng didn't even dare to think that. 101 crystals. 102 crystals. The internal world began to absorb the golden horned beast. This time he chose to absorb its back. Because the back was the core of the body's strength and the wings were on its back too. If the back was strong enough, it would be easier to control the Wu Slayer wings and withstand the load. I've just absorbed the crystals on my back, so the changes to the genes on my back are starting from 0. The pain is still very weak. Luo Feng revealed a smile as he lay in the pool. He absorbed the crystals one by one. 110 crystals. 120 crystals. 130 crystals. The killing aura invasion was getting stronger and stronger. However, back when he absorbed the 100 crystals, he had only lived for a few hundred years. And now after a few thousand years, his long years of comprehension, getting close to the universe origin laws, had indeed nurtured his consciousness, causing his willpower to change. And over the long years, Luo Feng had comprehended even more mysteries. Even though his mental state was still at the first level, his willpower was much stronger. A higher level didn't necessarily mean a lower level was stronger. The second level, heart of a newborn, was usually much stronger than the first level, clarity of mind. However, Luo Feng's extreme path of constantly strengthening himself, his willpower was at least much stronger than Thunder God back when he was less than 100 years old and comprehended the second level. 140 crystals. 150 crystals. 160 crystals. 162 crystals. 163 crystals. 164 crystals. 165 crystals. The 166th crystal has failed. My willpower can't take it anymore. In the pool, Luo Feng revealed a smile. To be able to absorb 165 crystals is already not bad. The further I go, the harder it gets. My willpower has improved quite a bit over these few thousand years. Even though he had absorbed 65 crystals on his back, the golden horned beast's overall strength had only risen by about 10%. As the increase in the strength of the back was only a small portion of the golden horned beast's strength, far from its right claw. Hence the increase in strength was limited. Luo Feng's 4th day in the army base. Rumble. 3 silhouettes flew above the mountain lake, very quickly reaching the edge of Luo Feng's private island. Haha, you finally arrived. Luo Feng walked out with big steps. Sir, these are the goods you ordered, they're all here. The leader of the 3 was an undying, respectfully handing over a world ring. This world ring is also a gift for you, sir. The world ring flew towards Luo Feng and floated before him. Luo Feng was obviously excited as he received it. He had fought so hard for so long and spent so much effort all for these goods. He had spent all of his 6.1 billion mixed elements to purchase the items in this ring. With such a huge transaction, it was very normal for him to give away a world ring that was only worth about 1 mixed element. We won't disturb you any further. Go. Luo Feng waved his hand, after which he couldn't help but turn and return to his quarters. The 3 service workers from the Virtual Universe Company didn't even step foot on the island. As this was a private island, the army had rules. Without Luo Feng's permission, other life forms were forbidden from entering. I finally arrived. I've spent all 6.1 billion. Luo Feng sat in a chair beside the pool, immediately letting the Masha clansmen begin to inspect the goods. Back when he traded with Blackheart Emperor and Desire Demon Emperor, he got 6.1 billion mixed elements. Luo Feng then exchanged them for 6.1 billion points. Under normal circumstances, one had to become an Undying to have the authority to exchange points. However, ever since Luo Feng became the direct disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader, his authority was extremely high, even higher than many emperors. Naturally, he had the authority to exchange for points. Exchanging for 6.1 billion points, along with the remaining 180 million from back then, Luo Feng began to spend. 1. He bought 2 scanning devices. The large scanning device cost 2 billion points, only a few emperors were willing to spend so much. The mini scanning device cost 1.8 billion points. Even though it only scanned a 20 kilometers area, the price wasn't much different. As the scanning area was small, its precision was comparable to those large scanning devices that cost hundreds of billions of points. This also meant, with this mini scanning device, as long as an absolute warrior scanned Luo Feng, even if the large scanning device couldn't detect him, the mini scanning device would know beforehand. 2. He bought the best materials needed to nurture the Cloud Contact Vine to become Undying, spending a total of 1.53 billion points. Of course, with this, the Cloud Contact Vine's chances of becoming Undying was only 50%. 3. He bought a Fire God Origin Crystal, comparable to an Emperor-level warrior's self-destruction. It was enough to kill an Emperor-level warrior and heavily injure an Emperor Pinnacle warrior, spending 800 million points. Back when Luo Feng had 3 billion points in Primal Chaos City, he used it to exchange for the Fire God Origin Crystal. Back then, he exchanged for 2 Fire God Origin Crystals comparable to a low-level Emperor's self-destruction, spending 400 million points. However, he never got the chance to use it. The 3 added together. He spent a total of 6.13 billion points, leaving Luo Feng with only 150 million points. Luo Feng couldn't take it anymore. To let the Cloud Contact Vine evolve to an Undying, the process requires quite a bit of time. I'll let it evolve on the way back. I'll leave now, back to the Sacrifice Flame continent. After bidding farewell to the Emperors and Undyings that he had befriended in the past few days, Luo Feng sat in a universe ship and left base 026 alone, on his way back.